Can't believe this. I was muted? What the heck? Frick! Smeirna, you've been a Lasso Ultra Plus member for 15 months. How have we been going for that long? That's kind of weird. That's kind of wild. Thank you so much. 15 whole months. Ah. Smeirna, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships. You're so generous. Thank you. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. I just need to let you know that husband is going to be walking in with canes very soon. It's going to be very loud. And I'm not sorry. Hello, 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 and welcome to another exciting video with me, your host and guiding light in the eerie night, Lilith Leerie. And today we will be playing a game that is so fresh and new. Never heard of it. I'm really excited to play it. It's giving SINergy. It's giving Office. What is that one thing that everybody loves so much and I still haven't seen it? Something. It's giving is the point of this. It's a little point and click adventure game. Severance, that's the one. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's the one. I think it's gonna be a little something like that. So I'm really excited to play this. My name is Finnegan Joyce. That's right. Finnegan Joyce. I can't believe they doxed me like this. How dare they release that my name is in fact Finnegan Joyce. Let's say that my name is like, fucking, what's like a really office name? Carol Baskins. No, Carol Jenkins. Carol Baskin, you fucking... Carol Jenkins. I'm Carol. There are 3 deaths. The first is when the body ceases to function. The second is when the body is consigned to the grave. The third is that moment, sometime in the future, when your name is spoken for the last time. Gosh, the phone call. An all too familiar screeching reverberates inside your brain. The noise comes in waves. The pain follows suit. You try your best to ignore both, but the mere fact you've acknowledged the awful sound means it's already won. Your phone's alarm is simply much too loud to ignore. Defeated, your eyelids peel apart like sheets of rotting Velcro, blinking back a bad night's bleary haze. You lie in bed, awake against your consent. The room is almost pitch black, save for the intermittent flashing of your phone's screaming screen. A rancid, if routine, stench of unwashed bedsheets bids you a sweet, bittersweet good morning. You're home, for better or worse, mostly the latter these days. Just once you'd wish you'd wake up somewhere else instead. Just once, you wish time would ask permission before racing ahead, but your phone doesn't care about what you want. Ugh. The insufferable screeching drills deeper into your skull. You throw back your dirty blankets, blindly reaching for the misbegotten beast. Yeah, I'll pick up my phone. Sure, why not? Pick it up. The slab of thumb-smudged plastic feels comfortable in your palm. Most call the device ancient, but to you, it's a cozy and oh my god, I can't read today. Most call this device ancient, but to you, it's cozy and familiar, like an old, if outdated, friend. No oversized touchscreen, no fancy graphics card for mobile games, no constant access to so-or-so G network, just a simple tool with a cute antenna that still allows you time to disconnect. You've always appreciated the old and the analog, despite the wider world's obsession with digitized progress, their sincerity and physicality, a warmth to an object's weight. You'll cling to this relic as long as you can. Sensible upgrades be damned. Oh, it's a flip phone, bro? Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I want a flip phone. I still have my dad's BlackBerry. I stole it after he stopped using it. I didn't steal it. He stopped using it, and then I took it because I liked pressing the buttons. I was like 7. You don't understand. You fiddle with the phone, desperate to stop the alarm. But no matter which button you press, the shrieking will not end. That's because it isn't your alarm at all, it's your ringtone. Squinting in the dark, you barely make out the caller's ID. It's your aunt. Aunt/landlady, technically speaking. Hopefully just your aunt today. The woman is exhausting enough when she isn't asking for rent payments, no matter how overdue they are. Still, should you really ignore a call from the one person still willing to support you between jobs? Oh yeah, I'll accept it. I'll accept my fate. Static crackles as your obsolete cell phone struggles to connect. After a sharp click, you mumble a hesitant hello.
Así mi clamo.
Hey there, sweetie. Sorry for calling you out of the blue. Hope I'm not interrupting lunch. What? I slept in past noon? The scratchy facsimile of her bombastic... I've never seen that word before. Facsimile? Of her bombastically condescending voice greets you on the line's other end. No mistaking your dear auntie. But what's this about lunch? You flick on a light and glance towards your microwave's LED clock display. A shameful number stares back from the room's abyss. 1:29 p.m. You wince and make up a half-baked lie, pretending to talk with your mouth full. Oh, I'll do that. No. Your aunt doesn't seem to buy it. Wow. Facsimile means copy. It's where the word fax comes from. Oh! Thank you! Learn something new every day. Thank you, Morkel. Wow. Well, I'm sure you're very busy with job applications today, so I'll get straight to the point. Do you have any idea when you'll be able to send me last month's rent? I know money's been tight lately, but it's already the 31st. 1 missed payment is bad enough, but 2? Shit, landlady it is. You feel yourself deflate, glancing to the tower of rejected job applications standing proud and precarious upon your messy desk. The top sheet almost grazes your modest apartment ceilings. Your aunt suggests to print each refusal, claiming they'd make your eventual hiring all the more rewarding. You found that harder to believe ever since the letters started to outnumber the dollars in your bank account.
Así mi clamo.
Monama, thank you very much for the raid. Raid Ma, we've come to consume your content. Thank you. Consume. Sweetie, do you have some kind of estimate for me? I would really need an answer today. Please, I need more time. Please, auntie, please. You swallow your pride. It goes down easy. There isn't much left. For the 100,000th, millionth time, you swear to send your aunt money the second you get a steady paycheck, but until then, there's no way you can conjure cash out of thin air. An uncomfortable silence lingers over your phone speaker. After several torturous seconds, a disappointed sigh comes through.
Saka.
Sweetie, I let you rent that place to give you a second chance, not to keep enabling this shameful do-nothing behavior of yours.
Jimena Gomi.
Honestly, I'd be more willing to forgive delays if I knew you were actually trying, but you can't expect me to believe you're pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and giving this job hunt all you've got when you've been living in a pigsty for the past year. Pigsty? You deflect the woman's accusations, blabbering in desperate denial. But as your eyes drift over the sorry state of your apartment, your ramblings soon turn to tragic silence. You've been immune to the stench for a few months now, but no amount of time will ever make you blind to the altars of wretchedness your neglect has erected on the floor at your desk. Fly-swarmed styrofoam containers amalgamate themselves into awkward, unstable modern art installations. Your largest one can only be referred to as the Leaning Tower of Takeout. Ugh. On the floor, crumpled stacks of crusty laundry litter the unmopped ground like landmines in an active war zone. In the kitchen, filthy cookware overflows from your sink, bathed in rancid dishwater. A layer of film has formed over the surface, thick as the crust of a creme brulee. Oh, God. And even in your fridge, the outdated contraption hums like a thermonuclear lawnmower, even though you know damn well it's not keeping anything cold. Maybe ketchup packets if you're lucky. Pigsty or not, there's no denying that this whole unemployment business has been taking a serious toll. One that's gone on long enough for your aunt's pity to become well-deserved contempt. Well, what do you have to say for yourself? It's not your fault those stupid companies won't hire overqualified geniuses. She's right, you're scum. Worse than scum. She should evict you and get it over with. You're sick of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. I'll do the middle one. Can't someone else pull them for you? No, I'm scum! Please evict me! Put me in my place, Auntie! You throw yourself into a dramatic tirade detailing your utter lack of worth, the hopelessness of human existence, and the filthy, trash-strewn ditch you deserve to die in, preferably alone. By the time your aunt gets a word in edgewise, your face is slick with tears and mucus, your heart tied into painful knots. Enough! I'm sorry, alright? I didn't mean to be so harsh. Now calm down, please. It sounds like she's begging out of irritation, then out of worry for your well-being. But you listen nonetheless, taking time to control your breathing and wipe away strings of snot. The phone crackles with warbled noise as your aunt lets out a groan.
Jimena Gomi.
Good grief. I know this mental health nonsense you keep talking about is a big deal, but you have got to get it together and take action somehow. You can't just keep using mood swings as an excuse to escape responsibility. That choice will get you nowhere. You have acquired clinical depression! You brace yourself as the woman prepares to deliver her most frequent, most frustrating spiel. You could probably repeat it word after word. If ever you were held at gunpoint. Remember, sweetie, in our world, choices matter. The big ones and the small ones. We can't always take those decisions back. I'm sorry, I'm so hungry. And we can't control their consequences either. Which means we have to choose carefully. You most certainly have not been doing that, but if you have any intention of getting yourself out of this mess, you have to start making the right decisions, and soon. You hang your head and nod, gulping down your last trickle of self-respect. Hearing this speech frequently doesn't make it any easier to hear. Anywho, enough of that. The real reason I'm calling is because I might have an opportunity for you. You can tell by her inflection she means a job opportunity. Your reaction is practically Pavlovian. You salivate at the thought of your unrelenting financial woes finally coming to an end. You grip the cell phone tighter, aching with anticipation.
Si gama no suku.
See, there's this problem employee at our company. He works at one of the local branches right next to where you live, but the man has a terrible attitude and is even more terrible when it comes to, well, whatever it is you think we do over there. You picture her limply waving a wrist at some vague, dismissive pattern. More of the highly confidential stuff she can't share, but brags about it anyway. Not that you're entirely sure what your aunt actually does for a living, to begin with. Something to do with human resources, maybe? Needless to say, we'll be laying off the little sourpuss as fast as a fitting replacement is found, but we need that replacement fast. Company has a big business deal coming up, and we can't afford to be short on staff right now. Luckily, I happen to know a certain someone in dire need of a job. And this position happens to be entry level, no major qualifications needed. It even comes with a sterling letter of recommendation from yours truly. Now, this won't be an easy job. Supervisors are very strict, and the anxiety has a way of following you home. But so long as you nail the interview, you're basically guaranteed stable income for as long as you need it. Smeirna Corp isn't prone to random layoffs. So how about it, sweetie? Shall I schedule something for you? Pronto! Let me sell my soul to a company. High stress environment or not, it beats homelessness by a country mile. You agree to the offer with ravenous insistence. The woman breathes a sigh of relief and lets out a nervous laugh. It's almost as like she's in ecstatic disbelief. It's not a high stress environment, it's fast paced. Fast paced environment where you think on your feet and are challenged every day. Thank goodness. You have no idea what it means to hear you say that, dear. You're literally saving my life. You should probably be the one to tell her that, but you won't complain about receiving gratitude instead of judgment for once. Without missing a beat, your aunt hammers at her computer's keyboard, drafting you an email. You clamber your way out of bed, tripping over day-old takeout and mounds of dirty underwear as you rush toward your laptop. I've booked the earliest appointment I could possibly find. You should get an email with the time, address, and job description soon. Be sure to read everything carefully and do not be late. Mr. Burgard will skin me alive if I send him another unpunctual idiot. Oh, and make sure not to mention that that whole depression nonsense during the interview might make Mr. Burgard think he needs to fix you. Fix you? Rather than offer answers, your aunt whispers farewell. Good luck, sweetie. I hope you'll forgive me for this someday. Huh? Click. The line goes deathly silent, save for a droning dial tone. You get an urge to call her back, but the ding of an invitation appearing in your inbox. Appearing in your inbox catches your attention first. Uh-oh. Your interview is today, at 4 p.m. sharp, no less. You curse under your breath. Fuck. Rushing to the shower and get dressed. Wait. No, it doesn't matter. Your stack of rejection letters gets knocked over by your charge and scatters across the room in a whirlwind of standard issue responses. You beg with every fiber of your being not to come home with a new failure to add up onto the pile. Yay, waiting room time. Chicken strip time, actually. The packed full city transit bus comes to a creaking stop, right in front of an old building you've never seen before. Shoving your way past crowded commuters, you stepping through an empty sidewalk. The vehicle roars away, fading into the mist afternoon, and leaving you utterly alone. You briefly wonder if getting off here was a mistake. Don't laugh at me, I'm hungry. Your You review your aunt's documents, poring over the civic number, street name, and postal code as though every character were the cipher of some secret code. Stop laughing at me! By the time you finish your third revision, you're forced to concede this must be the right address, but it is not remotely what you expected. There's the unnerving facade. Glazed gray brickwork. Gray. I'm not about to choke on chicken strips on stream. Glazed gray brickwork and pale veined marble unite to form a vast web of extravagant monochrome patterns. But despite all this detail, the sum total still gives off a sense of cold, calculated purpose. Almost like an anarchic graffiti artist was hired to redesign a palliative care center. Very liminal. The decorative windows. As you climb the front steps, a set of circular, gold-tinted portholes stare down at you. They are unblinking like the eyes of a giant deep-sea squid. The glass is too opaque to see through, yet you suspect someone is on the other side watching you approach. Made from half-ton hunks of glistening cast iron, the double doors have been decorated with an intricate bas-relief of skyscrapers swimming in the fog. Bit ironic for such a stout little edifice. And the bronze door knocker. The alloy has been smelted into the shape of a crowned king's severed head. That's sick as hell. The object looks so realistic you're scared it will be warm and wet to the touch. Unfortunately, you see no keypads, handles, or ID scanners that would allow for easy entry. Hey, I thought we were all about analog and, like, physical weight and stuff. The local branch of Smeirna Corp is only 4 stories tall, yet feels impossibly imposing. It's caught between outdated aesthetic and timeless sensibilities, somehow both outrageous yet invisibly subtle, as if meant to be forgotten in a passing glance and to haunt those whose gazes linger. You suspect you may be underdressed. Your clothes aren't filthy, of course. If anything, they're rather chic. At least they used to be. Neither time nor depression have been kind to your apparel. For all the class your best outfit once had, overuse has worn it down to a discolored, threadbare husk. Meanwhile, lack of money, motivation, and belief you're worthy of nice things has prevented you from buying new clothes for the better part of 2 years. Regardless, what you've got will have to do. The hour of your interview approaches, and you won't have cash to afford a better outfit until this job is yours. Oh, I'd bang that knocker against the door, hell yeah. The bronze object booms against the iron gates even harder than your thumping heart. Moments later, something clicks, and a latch comes undone. The door groans themselves open, inviting you inside. You step into the building and are greeted by what seems to be a 5-star hotel's reception area. The room is utterly massive, with high ceilings that would rival a Renaissance church's cavernous belly. Its windows let no sunshine through, and no fluorescent light bulbs fill it with their pale glare. Ew, I hate it. There are just low-hanging chandeliers and an array of green-glassed banker lamps bathing the room in burnt orange. Upholstered sofas and coffee tables dot the space like islands, forming a winding path that leads to the room's distant depths. There a woman stands behind a desk, flanked on each side by grillage elevators. The sharp machine gun clatter of her mechanical keyboard echoes across the room. Okay. They're all about analog too, it seems. Hopefully. What's up? Hopefully. The receptionist. Oh, you appreciate the old and analog, but Smeirna Corp's apparent fondness is downright ridiculous. Hopefully the receptionist won't feel the same way about your subpar outfit. Stride over like you own the place. Hey! With a little luck, it'll read as self-assurance instead of a total fucking delusion. The dim lighting becomes dimmer the further you go. The thick shadows close in on you like claustrophobic walls. Wall to wall, carpeting squishes under your feet, and an unfamiliar ammonia aroma assails your flared nostrils. Whatever they use to clean the place smells strong enough to double as a bioweapon, but still isn't enough to erase the lingering stench of cigarette smoke. The off-putting odor does suit the outdated decor, however. Except for those unsettling sculptures, carved in the room's concrete support pillars, disturbing shapes that assail you from all sides, emerging from the shadows like pretentious interpretations of 21st century demons. On your left, headless nude bodies are contorted in pain as veins sprout through their skin like a tree's sprawling roots. On your right, a bleak rendition of what you assume to be Babel's Tower has been built out of steel girders, electrical wiring, and bones. I like this place! Up ahead, you see human skulls whose scalps have exploded, revealing interwoven helixes of DNA strands and binary code. Nice. What happened to good old-fashioned gargoyles? Unsettled by your surroundings, your eyes drift back to the woman working at the reception desk. There are letters engraved in the wall above her, spelling out a slogan in twinkling silver font. Memoriae Perpetuitis Mutatio. I don't know. I don't speak Latin. You don't know much about corporate branding, let alone Smeirna Corp's specific suite of services, but you're not sure how effective that cryptid slogan must be. Cryptic. You hope your aunt's documents would have provided insight. Instead, they were mostly full of vapid statements about connecting modern businesses with industry-leading talent, some such variation of the standard corporate tripe. You wave hello to the receptionist, but she doesn't even flinch. Her gaze remains glazed over, wholly focused on her work. She's younger than you at first thought, maybe 30, likely not quite. Sickly pale, with deep, sleep-deprived bags under her eyes, each one darker than the acrylic of her tidy black turtleneck. Her hair is knotted into a dainty bun, her fingers devoid of polish or rings. They move across her keyboard like demented tap dancers. Wait. No, not her keyboard. Her typewriter. It's a really, really old one. Made from brass, black plastic, and way too many moving parts. A relic from the 1800s that looks like it's barely scraped through the world wars. And you thought your laptop was getting old. There's also a small desk bell glimmering on the counter. Maybe I should, ring it. I don't give a shit. I'd do it. A pleasant ding resounds like a clinking champagne glasses. The woman's head snaps forward as though struck by an electric shock. She flashes you a beaming, not quite pearl-white smile.
Anapaoki.
Welcome to Smeirna Corp. Do you have an appointment? The words barely seep through the woman's gritted teeth. Her grin is so tight it hurts to watch. But there's no trace of frustration. She's the dictionary definition of too friendly, made uncomfortable manifest. Unsettled, you stumble your way through an explanation of your aunt's referral. The receptionist replies with a nod, squinting as she reads the writing on her typewriter's latest sheet. Ah, of course. We've been expecting you. I'm afraid Mr. Burgard is running a little late this afternoon. He will need a few more minutes until he's ready to speak with you, but you're more than welcome to peruse our visitor handbooks while waiting. She gestures to a set of nearby couches and a table chock full of company pamphlets. But you're more surprised to notice someone else already sitting there. A young man with a bitter look etched into his furrowed face. Could this be? An irritated customer. Odd decor aside, this is a place of business, but for a human resource company, they sure don't seem to keep people happy. Your bleak musings are interrupted by the receptionist's unpainted nails tapping at her name tag. I'm Melusine, by the way. You call me as soon as Mr. Burgard becomes available. I'll call you as soon as Mr. Burgard becomes available. In the meantime, please let me know if you have any questions. God damn it, I'm gonna have to do my customer service voice. With a grateful, albeit embarrassed nod, you walk away and slump into an old-fashioned sofa. Melusine's rickety typewriter clacking away once more. The couch's cushions feel quite stiff. Or maybe your stress-clenched back does. Considering the ferocious stare down you're receiving from the stranger seated across you, it could well be the latter. 3:42 p.m., 18 minutes left. Good thing you came early. You still have time to prepare before your interview. But probably not enough to do everything you want. You'll have to decide where to spend it carefully. Okay, I want to read through those pamphlets. You snatch a brochure that seems to cover the most interesting topics, hoping it'll contain some hints about your future 9 to 5. Welcome to Smeirna, Corp. Your guide toward success in a post-truth future. What does that mean? Our history. Founded in the year by psychotherapist Gertrude Borodine. What began as a non-profit, humane society quickly evolved into a multinational conglomerate with over employees. Today, Smeirna Corp is everywhere. We work for your local governments, your most prestigious universities, the telecommunication services that you used to keep in touch with your loved ones. Everything we do to protect our most precious resource, people like you. Smeirna Corp is dedicated to providing custom human resource and recruitment solutions for businesses of all sizes. Using our revolutionary evaluation process, we assign the person who's right for you at the right time and the right place. Guaranteed every time. What are you waiting for? Embrace the change today. You're mildly disgusted by the amount of insipid buzzwords featured on each page. The whole thing reeks of hyperbole, with a lesser whiff of self-congratulation. But at least it was somewhat informative. Plus, this company seems way more prestigious than you expected. The salaries must be pretty decent. You tuck the pamphlet back into the display and give the clock another glance. 3:51 p.m. You still have a few minutes left, maybe enough to extract information from one of the other people in the room. The irritated man. Time to break the ice. Hopefully it won't be the very thin ice you seem to be on standing with this guy. You take a seat next to the stranger, introducing yourself with a smile. Hi, I'm Carol. Rather than ease the tension, the man scowls as if you were a clump of dog shit clinging to a shoe. His snarling voice sounds coarser than a poorly maintained gravel driveway.
Go, Jessica.
Hold on, wait.
The hell do you want? Can't you tell I'm not in the mood?
Well, if I couldn't tell before, if you couldn't tell before, you certainly can now. You gulp audibly. Gulp? Worried this person might assault you at any moment's notice. But as you stammer out some vague apologies, you notice something surprising. He doesn't look angry alone. He doesn't look all that angry, let alone angry at you. In fact, he mostly looks fretful. The man's calloused hands aren't balled into fists, but kneading each other with relentless worry. Sweat beads at the temples of his receding hairline, wearing down the gel matting on his tar-black locks. One of his legs shudders visibly, its foot tapping the floor with the breakneck tempo of a meth-addled punk musician stomping a drum pedal. He reminds you of Melusine. He had that same, not quite 30s face, same darkened, baggy, tired eyes, same snug black turtleneck, kept tidy as a military uniform. But his name tag reads Emiliano. Wait, name tag? It hits you, then, that Emiliano isn't a company client nor a prospective candidate for the same job you are. He's a Smeirna Corp employee.
Ame temoku.
Look, pal. Look, pal. All your staring is gonna give me a fit. Either speak up or back off, alright?
Is there something wrong? Are you okay, Pookie? You need somebody to braid your hair for you? Maybe walk you to the bathroom? For you, the hardest part of job hunting was always the impression of powerlessness combined with a feeling of tremendous isolation. Even one person who could sympathize with your woes would have been a godsend, but this guy only reads your empathy as an insult.
Tune Jakoda.
Are you brain damaged or just actively trying to screw with me? Seriously, if I'm getting laid off from the worst job I've ever had, why the hell would I want to get cheered up about it? Heck, if it weren't for this shitty exit interview, I'd be the happiest day of my life.
You have a hard time picturing this being happy, but no trouble whatsoever imagining why the man is fired, and suddenly you connect the dots. This must be the problematic employee your aunt was talking about. You cringe so hard your jaw aches. Offering to make someone feel better right before stealing their job is a level of awkward tension you weren't prepared for. Trying to recover from embarrassment, you change the subject to this exit interview, which seems to be causing such strife.
Must be pretty new to Smeirna Corp if you're asking me that, huh? Look, if they just wanted to tell me no hard feelings or ask how management could have done better, I wouldn't have a problem. But these bastards don't work that way. Every person I've ever seen get called into one of these meetings comes out looking like a walking corpse. And I don't blame them one bit. Honestly, I'd rather get castrated than go into that meeting. At least then I could bring my balls back home in a pretty little box. And I'd send it a loud keep out message to whoever they've called in to take my place.
Well, it'd send some kind of message. Still, despite the crudeness of his metaphors and the stink of booze on his breath, you sense Emiliano's fear runs far deeper than unemployment. In fact, you get the feeling he wants to protect the person who'd be taking over his job. Should you reveal your identity? Confess your intentions.
That's me, bud. What do you want to tell me?
Ame temoku.
You're not messing with me, are you? You're really here to work at Smeirna Corp?
You nod, briefly explaining your precarious financial situation and assuring him that you meant no offense by applying for a livelihood he'll soon be deprived of. But the booze-breathed man doesn't seem to register a single word you say. Rather, he interrupts you by leaning in close. The surface of your respective eyeballs practically kiss.
Batebamo.
Listen to me. It's too late for you now. The moment you walk through that door, your chance to escape disappeared. But what you can do is lessen any damage those bastards will make you inflict.
Bone mateku.
The guy who's going to interview you, Burgard, if your application satisfies him, he'll ask you to go through an evaluation, a questionnaire that's meant to give you a taste of the work we really do around here. I can't tell you more without getting it up to my neck in shit, but no matter what happens, you've got to do everything in your power to fail that test, okay?
His plea is earnest and full of desperation, yet it's also patient, patently ridiculous. There's a fire somewhere. Why would you purposely flop this probatory evaluation when you're in dire need of a job? What does your onboarding have to do with Emiliano's firing, anyway? It doesn't make any sense. Yet it doesn't stop the man from begging even harder.
You idiot. Do you not understand the kind of consequences this could have? This might just be a paycheck for you, but to me, it could mean life or literal death. You've got to fail that test.
This is beginning to sound less like a warning and more like a threat. And judging by the alcohol-tinged spittle splattering your cheek, it's not an especially sane one. Better cut this conversation short. No. I need a paycheck. You don't want to make him suffer, but even your aunt's patience has limits. Without a steady pay, you could end up on the street, and the only way to prevent that is by getting hired to replace this guy. Yet as soon as you say this, Emiliano grabs you by the collar. Ropes of slobber paint your face as he begins to scream.
Goccia seco.
Replace me? You want to replace me? You maniac! Do you have any idea what it means in a place like this, huh? Do you?
No, you don't. Nor do you know how to escape the man's increasingly vicious, vice-like grip. No matter how much you struggle, Emiliano isn't letting go. Whimpering, you cry out for someone to save you. Against all expectations, a booming voice actually answers.
Come baden.
Wait.
Mr. Aguilar, that's enough.
Emiliano drops you instantly. His heels click as he turns to face whoever shouted, like a soldier awaiting inspection. In your peripheral vision, you see Melusine do the same thing, though her gestures are much faster and much more practiced. You, meanwhile, are on all fours, gasping for air and gagging on the smell of ammonia cleaner. Never has the taste of chemicals ever been so sweet. You turn to thank your savior, only to choke on your breath once more. Standing in front of the elevator is, without exaggeration, the most massive man you've ever seen. He's taller than a fridge, twice as wide, and perhaps thrice as heavy. The pure white of his immaculate dentistry contrasts with his dark skin, which reflects the room's dim light like finely chiseled onyx. Beneath the perfectly tailored patterns of his elegant tweed suit, muscles shift with every breath, threatening to burst through the seams. His pale blue eyes focus on you as he speaks, with a voice like velvet thunder.
Notice amini.
Friends, you have my humblest apologies for my subordinate's inexcusable behavior. I'll be more than willing to discuss potential compensation if you deem it necessary, regardless of our interview's outcome.
Interview, huh? This must be Mr. Burgard, your soon-to-be boss, luck willing. The ding of an elevator is suddenly heard, and one of the grillage doors by the reception desk creaks open. The tweed behemoth sidles his way into the shaft, packed tighter than a tuna in a too-small can. He beckons you to join him with a bratwurst thick finger.
Come baden.
Come along now. We're already behind schedule and I can't afford any more delays. What's more, I frankly cannot wait to discuss your future with us here at Smeirna Corp.
Holy shit, he thinks you have a future! In that moment, Mr. Burgard's big beaming smile's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Thank him and slip into the elevator. And it's a tight fit, but you manage to wriggle yourself into the lift by nuzzling up to your hopefully future boss. You apologize profusely for the cramped conditions, but he just laughs it off.
Come baden.
No need to be embarrassed. Happens all the time. Oh, and no need for all this Mr. Burgard business either. First name basis is fine by me.
Before the elevator door can snap shut, someone opens their mouth and screams, "Ah!"
Tune, Jacoda.
Abuya, wait!
The angry-looking man you were worried about suddenly drops to his knees, hands held together in prayer. Any aura of danger that once clung to him has been dispelled by his blithering
Tune,
supplication.
Jacoda.
Sir, I'm begging you. Just give me another chance. I swear I'll do anything. Unpaid overtime. I'll work weekends. I'll kiss your goddamn shoes if I have to. Just please don't replace me.
Mr. Burgard's only reply is a disappointed sigh. His bright white smile wavers, and tangible contempt taints his otherwise welcoming tone.
Mao hone.
Mr. Aguilar, you've had more second chances than I can count, and displaying such undignified desperation in front of a candidate set to take over your position is not an endearing choice. Frankly, there's nothing more I can or want to do for you beyond the offering standard of company-issued severance package.
The once intimidating stranger collapses as though shot in the chest. His body ripples with hiccuping wails, his fists powerlessly pounding at the carpeted floor. Your maybe future boss clicks his tongue, more disappointed than disturbed. He turns to give Messaline a firm look and firmer orders.
Notice samedi.
Miss Saisons, please ensure our former staffer behaves until his offboarding is complete, will you? I'll attend to him once I'm done with our guest.
This tired woman gives a nervous nod, rushing back to her typewriter as if nothing happened. The clacking keys are now punctuated by the tears of a grown man. Abuya thumbs a few buttons, and the elevator doors finally slide shut. Through cracks in the grillage gates, you see the receptionist giving you a small wave, mouthing a worrisome farewell. Good luck. Before you can decide whether she was cheering you on or trying to warn you, the floor lurches forward. Proceed to the interview. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Let's fucking go. Oh my gosh, the interview. Wow. Wow, I can hardly wait. We should punctuate it by putting Kane's fries in my mouth. Wow. This game is so cool. Okay. After descending a short way, the elevator slows to a crawl, then comes to a complete stop, groaning under the combined mass of its unevenly weighted passengers. For a moment, you worry the cables have jammed. Clearing his throat, Mr. Burgard reaches over your shoulder and points to the lift's control panel.
Kudo mijaji.
Would you do me the honor of entering our meeting room's access password? If you're going to work here, you may as well learn how to travel across the office. Just type in, if you please. And, no need to be so brusque about it. Precision matters more than speed with these old doodads.
What the hell is that? It's a S with a circle, table, Kane, and, okay. Table, Kane, circle. The interviewer chuckles as he watches you fiddle with the eclectic symbols, amused by your apparent unfamiliarity. No doubt he's used to employees entering these combinations with the routine deftness of jaded shoppers, typing in their PIN numbers during a credit card transaction. You're still not sure why he's making you type the password in, nor why the elevator uses passwords in the first place. Wouldn't keycards be easier? Or normal numbers, at least? Regardless, as the last button clicks into place, the elevator resumes its descent at an increased momentum, plunging into the earth with no sign of stopping. After almost 20 seconds, you wonder if you're headed for the planet's core.
Ajobonica.
You'll have to beg my pardon for the sluggishness. I've petitioned to have this thing replaced, but the cryptology department refuses to let us invest in newer models. Potential security risks, or so they claim. Boogeyman hogwash, I say. An upgrade has been long overdue. Maybe once our deal with Radium finally goes through, they'll be a bit more welcoming of true progress, eh?
You nod along politely, pretending to understand what he means. You're unsure the display looks convincing. Still, by the sounds of it, you'll be stuck here for a while. How do you kill time? Give the elevator buttons a closer look. Let's squint down at them, let's see. Squinting at the control panel, you try making sense of the assorted icons decorating each key, trying to intuit the twisted logic linking them together. There must be some rationale informing this design of these peculiar passcodes. I mean, they're Greek, right? I think they're Greek. They look quite Greek to me. Unfortunately, the longer you look, the less you understand what the pi symbol and Greek omega have to do with any of the scribbles you've never seen before. Okay, I was kind of right. The bout of mental gymnastics required to even attempt drawing a clear pattern leaves you with a nagging headache. At least you remember the Spy Kane 0 password Abuya gave you. But in the end, you're so focused on decoding the secret behind Smeirna Corp's buttons that you're startled by Burgard.
I hope you're as excited for this interview as I am, friend. At the risk of sounding biased, I have very high expectations for you.
Kudo Mijaji.
The woman who recommended you for this position, your aunt, I believe, she had nothing but great things to say.
Yawona Kimo.
She assured me that you were an extremely positive person with a permanent can-do attitude and exceptional emotional resilience. That's exactly the kind of person we need more of here at Smeirna Corp.
Red flags! Red flags! You answered the giant's compliment with an awkward chuckle. Internally, however, you are screaming. You knew your aunt was bound to lie in order to guarantee you an interview, but she could have picked something more fitting for a clinically depressed shut-in who can't afford their own prescription. As you force yourself to a smile through an impending panic attack, the elevator comes to a grinding halt, its grillage door sliding open. Squeeze your way out of here. It's a bit of a battle to wriggle past Abuya. Though you soon find yourself free of the claustrophobic lift and breathing a bit easier. Mr. Burgard follows suit, flipping a light switch to illuminate the otherwise pitch-black room.
Notice Amini.
Welcome to my humble office.
Also, that's what this place is. An office wouldn't have been your first guess. The rectangular space before you is reminiscent of an oversized police interrogation room. The walls are painted glossy black, glistening in the sepia glow of a low-hanging ceiling lamp. And if it weren't for the obvious two-way mirror in the back, the room would appear infinite in size. A boundless expanse of inky shadow extending in every direction. A single desk sits at the room's center, made from a block of carved mahogany. Coffee-stained paperwork covers its surface like some madman's wallpaper, and countless colored wires sprawl across the floor, as though the varnished wood had somehow sprung electrical roots. Leather chairs, fit to dwarf royal thrones, loom over both ends of the table, no doubt custom-built to accommodate Mr. Burgard's colossal frame. The behemoth briskly motions for you to take a seat, but you sink so far into the plush leather it feels more like the seat takes you. Prying yourself out of these uncomfortable depths, your eyes turn to the sparse assortment of unusual baubles decorating the table's corners. On this side, there's an antique candlestick phone, whose mouthpiece is made to look like a large roosting bat. That's sick as hell. On that side, there's an old-fashioned record player adorned with a gaudily gilded Smeirna Corp logo. Right in front of you, there's a nameplate engraved with the words Abuya Burgard, Senior Substitution Department Supervisor. And scattered all over the place, there are piles of VHS cassettes, each one labeled with tags written in Latin, Farsi, or ancient Greek. The item which perplexes you the most, however, is an old vinyl record, snugly wrapped in a yellow keep-out tape. Mr. Burgard notes your interest with an amused arch of his eyebrow.
Notice Amini.
You like jazz?
I love jazz! Abuya's smile can grow no bigger, but it certainly shines brighter upon hearing your enthusiastic answer.
Kudo mijaji.
What?
Well then, I'm quite excited to find out what a fellow connoisseur will think of this particular gem.
Carefully placing the confidential vinyl in an old record player, Mr. Burgard lowers the needle and bids you to listen. A strange, somber soundscape slowly fills the office with a blues-inspired rhythm you can't quite compare to anything you've heard before. It's not appalling per se, but it's perhaps a little messy, and eerie enough to make you uncomfortable. The duet voices of a man and woman muttering warbled lyrics only adds to the strangeness. You can't make out a word of what they're saying except for the chorus verse. Let's call the whole thing off.
Notice samini.
Gina and Herschel Gershwin, twins if you were wondering. Not a couple, despite all the turbulent rumors that once surrounded their odd relationship. I've never met them myself, but I do know that they could have been bigger than the Beatles back in the band's heyday. The biggest case in my career was making sure they wouldn't be. And I always found it tragic that only one of their records was left intact in the world. Though I was feeling quite lucky to be the man who owns it, few will ever have the privilege of hearing such avant-garde work.
You utter a few admirative oohs and ahs, feigning interest to conceal your perplexity. What does a human resource company have to do with ruining musicians' careers? And how could Abuya be employed, let alone live during the birth years of rock and roll? He's not that old, is he? Before you can scrutinize the man's non-existent wrinkles, he promptly clears the stray documents from his desk, making space for a repulsively familiar sheet of paper. Your loathsome fucking resume, laid bare before the world to gawk at. God, you're sick of seeing that thing. Abuya interlaces his fingers, pale eyes darkening into a severe stare. You suddenly find yourself keenly aware of just how dangerous the man could be, should he choose to embrace violence over verbal repartee.
Samogeto.
Time to begin our little interview. I'll be asking you a series of questions. Some will appear rather peculiar, others rather innocuous. They may be difficult to answer at times, as you've not been made fully aware of your position, nor of Smeirna Corp's company goals. However, I still request that you provide honest and instinctive responses, regardless of context. They'll give me a better idea of the role you'll be assigned during your time among us.
Wait. You have to ace an interview before being told about the job you're applying for? What a mess. Either Smeirna Corp has an unintuitive hiring process, or their non-disclosure agreements are so incestuously interwoven that no one can get any work done without being strangled to death by red tape. Still, Abuya's words make one thing clear. The only way you'll get hired and earn a salary to pay the rent you owe is by acing this goddamn interview, no matter what it takes. I don't lie during interviews usually. I just can't. I can't.
Notice samini.
Wonderful. Wait.
Wonderful. Let's get started.
Tome baden.
Question 1. A runaway locomotive is barreling down a set of rail tracks on uncontrollable speeds. In its path lay 5 people tied down and unable to move. If nothing is done, the locomotive will surely crush them and end their lives in an instant.
Kudo mijaji.
You stand in a train yard next to a large lever. You know that if you pull it, the locomotive will divert its course on a separate track. However, it will cause it to crush a different person who is also tied down to this alternative path. How do you ensure all 6 people escape this tragedy alive?
Well, that's not quite the where do you see yourself in 5 years shtick you're used to. How the hell are you supposed to respond? Let's see. Assuming you can operate that lever, you might also know how to remotely trigger the emergency brakes. You run fast and have deft hands. Untie everyone before he arrives. Dodge the question by discussing other ethical conundrums and how they might expose moral biases. I mean, if I'm in the train yard, I could probably remotely stop the train, right? Nah, we're dodging. Abuya's hypothetical scenario is just a variation of the trolley problem, an open-ended dilemma which has a way of making sane people sound like psychopaths. In a bid to save face, you change the subject by praising Burgard's insightful question, sparking a larger debate on the nature of good and evil. The topic, thankfully, seems to be one of the giant's personal fascinations. He quickly launches into a long-winded monologue concerning his favorite social experiments, the principle of double effect, the deeper questions about whether the suffering of a few is worth benefiting the many. You do your best not to grimace, as his explanations grow increasingly graphic and disturbing. After several minutes spent rambling about the impossibility of objective morality, your supervisor seems to remember he was supposed to interview you.
Gawona Kimo.
Well, I'll be. I can't even tell when you put me under your spell there. You're quite the gifted conversationalist.
Kudo Mijaji.
Working at Smeirna Corp will often involve engaging with people at a similar level, steering their minds in the correct direction while providing the illusion that the correct choice was always their own. It's a key part of our human resource processes, and one of the reasons why our failure rates are so low. Furthermore, you do not appear intimidated by discussions that veer into morally ambiguous territory, or into more treacherous regions of human psychology. That will give you a significant advantage against most competitors whenever you must deal with the clients who have suffered significant trauma.
Boy, working in human resources sounds a lot more complicated than your aunt made it seem. Are these people sure you're cut out for this? Before you can wander any further, the behemoth clears his throat.
Ajobonica.
Your profile has changed. Social aptitude +2. Yay! Now moving right along to question 2. Could you kindly rephrase your greatest flaw so that it sounds like your greatest strength?
Tome Baden.
Be advised, I do not want to hear any of that cowardly "I'm too much of a perfectionist" or "I'm a huge workaholic" claptrap that most folks use to make themselves sound flawless. I want a proper, blameworthy weakness reconfigured into a proper, praiseworthy strength. Understood?
The behemoth leans forward and the room's darkness looms with him. Both close in around you like the walls of a solitary confinement cell or the rope of an eager hangman's noose. Better think of something good. Let's see. Spend too much time chatting with coworkers, but it helps you understand them and cooperate effectively. You often try to solve problems with brawn, not brain, but you're in great shape, so it works out. Nah. I talk way too much to my coworkers. Whenever I always get in trouble for that. But like, bitch, you're gonna tell me that I'm spending 8 hours, if not, it's usually like 10 or 11. You're gonna tell me that I'm spending almost half my day with these people and I can't chat it up with them? Fuck you. Wars waged with unmastered weapons are all doomed to fail. Sun Tzu said that, you think. Or maybe it was a World War I general. Or the hero from that kung fu movie you watched as a teen. Point is, swapping gossip doesn't just provide drama, it reveals what your teammates are truly capable of.
Ajobonica.
That, I must confess, is an exceptional response.
Gawona Kimo.
To work at Smeirna Corp is to plunge into the very fabric of human psychology and unravel every thread of it on a daily basis. Understanding who people are, their wants, needs, aspirations, is integral to helping them become the people that they should be, and no one can achieve such understanding by working alone. Therefore, extending that same level of consideration to one's colleagues is an extremely wise initiative to augment our efficiency. Impressive stuff for a new recruit.
Took the words right out of my mouth, man. Totally, yeah. The man gestures with theatrical flourishes as he makes the declaration, but his conviction sounds too genuine to come off as arrogant. You conceal a satisfied grin, picturing how spectacular the man's water cooler small talk must be.
Tome baden.
Now then, wait.
Now then, on to our final inquiry. Regarding your schooling, I would like for you to, well, if you would just explain the, goodness, how do I phrase this delicately?
The behemoth's words trail into muttered mumbles, his velvet thunder voice degrading into something more akin to a bumblebee stuck in a big dog's mouth. His blue eyes dart between you and the paper's underwhelming bullet points with increasing disgusted concern, as though finally noticing what kind of unemployable aberration has stepped into this place. It is unfortunately common reaction to anyone who reads your CV. The singers on the record players shout a loud suggestion to just call the whole thing off. Their advice, for better or worse, goes unheeded.
Kimau hone.
Well, at what?
Well, at the risk of sounding insensitive, I truly appreciate some insight regarding your academic background. How do you believe a workplace of our nature could benefit from hiring someone with such a dubiously incompatible education?
You begin to sweat bullets. Big bullets. The kind of caliber robot cops must use in action movies from the 80s. Of course it was coming down to this. No matter how dearly you wish it were possible, you can't magically go back in time and study something more prestigious for today's job market. But you might be able to describe your weird diploma in a way that makes a strikingly employable impression. I studied ultimate frisbee, the apex education for any teamwork-loving athletic superstar. Child psychology, you're good at reading people and creating emotional rapport. Sure. You're unsure what kind of service Smeirna Corp really offers, but there's no doubt social sciences could come in handy with human resources. By honing your communication skills and providing extra insight into people's personality quirks, your schooling should prove useful in dealing with clients and coworkers. You discuss some intricacies of your most memorable seminars, specifically ones concerning mental development and lingering infant trauma known to emerge decades later. Examples of how early experiences inform otherwise incoherent attitudes among grown adults. Mr. Burgard's concern mellows into curiosity with every passing explanation. Then, as your story concludes, he regards you with an outright admiration.
Kudo bichaji.
I cannot even begin to explain how often our Smeirna Corp representatives fail to consider the significance of formative experiences when it comes to mapping out an individual's psyche. Childhood memories are oft overlooked, yet integral in determining the root cause of a client's wants, fears, or failings. And in our most extreme cases, identifying those root causes is utterly essential to succeed.
Yawona kimo.
The fact that you have such a thoughtful and informed perspective before starting your first day, no less, is truly, truly incredible. Correcting human behavior is a complicated, multi-layered process, but your pre-existing awareness of that fact will be a major asset.
Yeah, he's using all the Bugs Bunny. He's using all the buzzwords there, isn't he? His flattery sends swarms of butterflies fluttering about your stomach. It's been a while since you've last received such a compliment, let alone felt actual pride in yourself, as opposed to the usual undercurrent of exhausted shame. Ironically, a therapist would probably have questions for you about that.
Notice amini.
Yay, I'm so socially inept, adapted, aptitude, aptitude. Hooray! Good for me. Happy for me. Okay. Anywho, I believe that. Wait.
Anywho, I believe that concludes our questionnaire for the day. As for your results,
The man's enormous fingers crumple your CV into a small ball and toss it aside. It bounces across the wire-laden floor, disappearing into an inky corner of the abyssal room. Your chest tightens. Panic swells. Catastrophic scenarios and the thoughts of crushing failure explode through your head. Abuya's beaming smile diffuses them all.
Gawona kimo.
to tell you the truth, this little meeting of ours was nothing more than a corporate mandated formality. Between your aunt's glowing recommendation and the fact you showed up to our office on such short notice, I knew from the very start I'd be wanting you on board. After this discussion, I'm pleased to announce that my hunch has been confirmed, and I am most pleased to be extending you a permanent employment offer.
Oh, wait a minute. You actually want to hire me?
You've never been this close to getting employed in ages. You almost expect the man to reveal it was a cruel prank this whole time. Instead, Mr. Burgard chuckles, amused by your aghast reaction.
I'm dead serious, friend. In fact, you didn't just meet expectations, you exceeded them. Our exchange has revealed that you're an individual of exceptional interpersonal acuity, a sharp mind with an even sharper intuition, honed by keen intelligence and earnest empathy. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that you're skilled at talking yourself out of trouble or persuading folks to see things your way regardless of where the truth may lie. Of course, you'll sometimes face scenarios where social deduction and charisma will prove insufficient, but I see a bright future for you at Smeirna Corp, managing our most prestigious and precarious operations. So, would you deem my interpretation of your aptitudes correctly, or have I misconstrued the content of your character?
Nah, that's 100% me, bro. Flattered by Obuya's appraisal, you relish the satisfaction of having been truly seen. Finally, somebody recognizes my genius. It's not every day that you get such praise. Quantifiable breakdown of your unique... It's not every day you get such a precise, quantifiable breakdown of your unique abilities. May they serve you well in tackling the horrors to come.
Good to know. Very good indeed. In that case, I'll nudge administration to start producing your contract. I'll unfortunately have to remain cagey about some details, such as workplace tasks or starting salary, until all the legal hoopla has been sorted. But assuming you care to accept a generous starting offer... Mr.
Burgard's chuckling deepens as he extends a massive hand. His blue eyes are bright with joy, his tongue hungrily running over his pure white teeth.
Please allow me to informally welcome you as the newest member of Smeirna Corp. I look forward to reviewing your performance.
Holy shit, it's actually happening. You're going to have a job. You're going to have money. Enough to pay rent, keep a roof over your head, eat food, anything. Fight the urge to cry. You don't cry in front of the man. What are you doing? You cannot help but sniffle as you extend... Stop! No! You cannot help but sniffle as you extend your hand, eyesight blurred by tears of sheer relief. Yet even through that weeping haze, you can still see the behemoth's grin spreading like a bird, unfurling wings. More specifically, those of a rapacious buzzard diving in to snatch a rodent with razor-sharp talons. Instincts urge you to pull away, but the behemoth pounce comes too quickly before you can possibly react. Your entire hand is engulfed with a fist the size of a ripe cantaloupe. Almost instantly, something feels terribly, terribly wrong. Despite Mr. Burgard's pure white smile, it feels as though your new boss is trying to leave you crippled from the wrist down.
Get off of me. Knuckles crunch, folding in on each other. Metacarpals squeak and whine. Articular cartilage between them both crumble into collagen sand. But all that pain is nothing next to the sharp, stabbing agony suddenly shooting through your palm. You cry out in pain, beg Burgard to let go, fight to pry your fingers free, but the giant's grip is iron. And deaf to your complaints, if anything, he squeezes harder. Get! The needle-point pain inside your hand sinks even deeper. Deep enough for you to think it might pierce the whole way through. Deep enough for you to wonder if it could somehow kill you. Your jaw unhinges to let out a scream. Before a single sound comes through, Mr. Burgard lets you go free with an innocent-sounding oops.
Ajubonica.
Dearie me, that was a tad too firm there, wasn't I? Beg pardon, friend, I tend to forget my own strength sometimes.
The Tweed behemoth lets out an earnestly apologetic chuckle. You force yourself to chuckle back, but the laughter makes tremendous effort. It's hard to buy his excuse, no matter how believable it may be. Panicked, you palpate your palm and numbed fingers, searching for any scars left by the thing that was drilling into your flesh. But there's no wound, no torn skin, no deep cuts, not even mild bruising. You don't even feel the pain anymore. All you find is a single bead of bright red blood, no bigger than a pinhead. You wipe it away, frantically seeking what lurks beneath. It is warm to the touch and leaves a scarlet smear across your skin, like a painter's brush. Yet there's no sign of where the paint has come from. No wound, no scar. There could be some swelling, but it's faint enough to make you suspect the bulge isn't really there. Maybe, just maybe, it was all in your head. Investigate that swelling. You press down hard with the tip of your thumb, searching for a lump or stiffness. Before you're sure you've spotted something, a clatter interrupts you. Hold on, I need a sip of tea. Who knew that the dialogue game would be dialogue heavy? From one of his desk drawers, Mr. Burgard withdraws a slab of metal the size of a stovetop. At first, you assume it's a tablet device, custom built to fit the Tweed giant's fingers and resist their vice-like strength, or perhaps a turntable meant for an aspiring DJ, painted in drab colors. A closer look reveals something older and chunkier, made of gray aluminum and solid beige plastics. Blinking buttons, flickable switches, knobs, and sliders of all directions as crowded surface with a cluttered interface too complex to grasp at a glance. Despite your fondness of outdated tech, you can't tell what kind of machine this is, nor what purpose it's meant to serve. Your best guess is an old movie prop stolen from the studio of a sci-fi film from the 1950s, and not necessarily a good sci-fi film. Mr. Burgard bends over to grab heaping handfuls of wires off the messy floor. I can't read. Oh my god, this is so crazy. Okay. Mr. Burgard bends over to grab heaping handfuls of wires off the messy floor. Seemingly at random, he sorts through dozens of them at a time, plugging only a paltry few into his device's outlets.
Kudo mijaji.
Now that the pleasantries are finally done, I suggest we proceed to the evaluation portion of the exchange.
Aha! You were wondering when you were getting to that part. The behemoth appears to be taken aback by your expectant nod, but is even more surprised by the nervousness of your lousy poker face can't conceal. Though you were told to expect a test, you were also warned to be wary, and you're not particularly excited to find out what that machine has to do with it.
Come now, no need to be so agitated. I've already agreed to hire you. It's not like I'll be terminating your employment before your first probationary milestone.
Ajubonica.
The format of this
Format of this evaluation will be similar to our open-ended interview questionnaire, but this time I'll be presenting intentionally confusing scenarios that most Smeirna Corp employees might encounter during their day-to-day tasks. Your goal is to present solutions to each particular problem as you deem appropriate, regardless of how unconventional the suggestion may seem. Yet again, there are no wrong answers, but I will tally your responses to determine how much supervision you'll require during onboarding.
Kudo mijaji.
In other words, I once more encourage honesty over making a good impression, for both our sakes. Okay.
The behemoth flicks a larger switch upon his instrument's dashboard. A low, droning, palpable hum fills the shadowy room. The light bulb hanging above you flickers, then goes dark, bathing in the already dim room in nigh absolute blackness. Only the device's glowing buttons, reflected in the two-way mirror, provide you with any light.
Gawona kimo.
Shall we get started?
Let's call the whole thing off. The recorder player begs you over and over again. It seems to be stuck in place and skipping a few beats. Unfortunately, your body is also stuck in place. Petrified in your plush chair, and your heart is skipping a few beats more. You give your sore hand a tight squeeze and hope the throbbing will stop soon. Ask him for more information. Mr. Burgard denies the request with a firm shake of the hand. Ignorance
Is key.
he explains.
The more prepared you are, the more inaccurate the results. I am a man who greatly values precision.
Your new boss's bratwurst thick fingers pushes one of the machine's sliders to its absolute limit. The room's bassy hum increases in pitch and frequency.
Ajobonika.
I'll start you off with an easy one. Let's say, hypothetically, that you're supervising a group of employees from a different company. They hired you to isolate the source of their decreased productivity, then remedy the issue, and it does not take long for you to identify the problem. One of their staff members is extremely troublesome.
The giant pauses, uttering a tisk of irritation. It seems he wasn't supposed to specify this mystery employee's gender. When he speaks again, he enunciates slowly, with more careful consideration.
Bonekaye.
This hypothetical individual has an undeniably inadequate productivity level. They never meet bare minimum expectations. They lack punctuality, disrespect their colleagues, browse unsavory websites with company property instead of dedicating their timed, limited work hours to completing overdue, urgent paperwork. Their misconduct is continuous and condemnable.
Tome baden.
The employee has been given multiple warnings and provided with opportunities to improve their performance. Both have either failed or been ignored. The client is contemplating firing the problematic worker, but are concerned that becoming understaffed during an especially critical moment of the fiscal quarter would jeopardize their important deadlines. What do you think should be done to reestablish the client's baseline productivity?
It took you so long to find a job. Firing someone would make you sick. Give them one more chance. This person should be laid off regardless of deadlines. They harm more than they help. Talk with the person to understand the root of their poor behavior. Let's do that one. We've got child psychology specialization. Citing psychiatric principles you learned during internships, you explain that the employee may be enacting forms of self-regulation to cope with stress. Severe triggering employment-based anxieties could be their reason for lashing out. Creating a safer, more communicative workplace would prevent future incidents. As your nervous explanation begins delving into the more technical aspects of addressing trauma, you start losing track of your own argument. However, Mr. Burgard remains very satisfied by your convoluted suggestion.
Kudo mijaji.
Kudo bijaji.
I knew your studies in performative psychology would prove useful. Even our most experienced technicians could benefit from your level of consideration. If one intends to map out the architecture of a complex adult mind, one must first start at the foundation set in childhood. Failing to do so only grants an incomplete picture of the person we're trying to change, and leads to flawed interpretations of the necessary corrections. The fact you already take into account potential childhood trauma tells me you understand this well.
Ajobonica.
Thus, I predict minimal corrective oversight will be necessary while performing your first surgical override or psychological reconditioning. Jolly good stuff.
Surgical override? The giant hums joyfully, fingers tap dancing across the buttons of his device with a series of distinctive clicks. Hang on, though. Did he just say you'd be performing surgery? Abuya completes his complex mechanical operation with a flourishing flash of lights and a sequence of high-pitched beeping. The machine's noises are loud, but not startling. Not compared to the other sound. It's faint at first, muffled, maybe distant, subtle enough to make you wonder if it's part of the record player's tune. But the longer you listen, the more unmistakable it becomes. Someone, somewhere, is screaming. Your nails dig into the armrests of your overlarge leather seat. Your eyes dart about the room, searching for the noise's source, before landing on two-way mirror and your own aghast reflection. It's coming from across the glass. Music. Oh, you hold your breath and wait for the scream to rise up again. But there's only record player's music. Music and the white noise buzz of Burgard's machine as he ahems you back to attention.
Gawona Kimo.
If you're in need of a restroom, I can point you in the right direction. Otherwise, I'd ask you to please complete this evaluation with a smidge less fidgeting. It negatively impacts our tool's acoustics, you see. It's like he...
Didn't even hear it. Was the scream inside your head, just like the pain in your hand from before? Or maybe... Massage your blood-stained palm and pretend... Ask Mr. Burgard if he heard that person shouting too. Did you hear that? The behemoth sighs in irritation, his friendly facade fading for a frightening split second as he states the seemingly obvious.
Samogeto.
Of course, I heard it. Now pay attention, this is important.
Booyah flips another switch. The room's buzzing shifts to a frequency so oddly low, you feel it sending ripples through your organs. The giant gestures your way with steepled fingers, further disturbing your unsettled guts.
Ajobonica.
Now let's say, still hypothetically speaking, that our problem employee has a more specific shortcoming. He is utterly unwilling to cooperate with one of his coworkers. Perhaps it's a matter of long-standing interpersonal friction originating from external sources. Maybe there's an irreconcilable difference between them in terms of moral, political, or religious beliefs.
Gawona Kimo.
Regardless of the exact circumstances, our floundering staffer has proven themselves incapable of playing nice with their high-performing teammate. This has resulted in a severe decline in both their productivity levels. Knowing we cannot relocate the problem employee to a new department or displace their high-performing partner, how do we ensure the former collaborator with the latter despite the deeply rooted discord between them?
Let's see here. Principles are learned, not biologically dictated. Teach them new values better suited for the workplace. Ultimate frisbee specialization. Damn! Hang on, did you hear that? You did hear that. What the hell was that? Let's piss him off a little bit more. What was that? Your voice cracks as you ask your question with a high-pitched squeak. What was that? Your nails dig deeper into the armrests of your plush leather seat. Praying Mr. Burgard's explanation will stop your heart from pounding. Unfortunately, the giant doesn't appear forthcoming. Merely furious.
Kimahone.
Pray tell, were my instructions incomprehensible? Or is your ability to follow directions truly so subpar? The only one asking questions during this evaluation is me, friend. Save your own for later, particularly if they're the foolish, obvious sort.
Kimahone.
And for the last time, sit still. I can't keep the frequency adjusted if you keep wriggling about, and I would hate to have to restrain your movements by force.
Or so he says. But he almost looks impatient to see you misbehave, urging you to act in a way that would require swift discipline. The kind that might make you yowl for mercy, just like that sorry soul who may or may not have been shrieking across the glass. You swallow hard and sit extremely still, debating how best to answer. Principles are learned. Your mind drifts to extreme rehabilitation scenarios. Neo-Nazis mellowed out through exposure to inclusive media. Violent teens overcoming aggression through extensive therapy. They're not quick or cheap solutions, but they do prove people can overwrite old behaviors with new compassionate values. Your new boss's bright white smile twinkles with tremendous satisfaction. He tweaks his device's knobs with giddy abandon.
Tome baden.
You are absolutely right. Too often do we believe people act in certain ways by default, as though personality and upbringing were immutable entities. But psychologically speaking, not only can anyone become anything, they can be made to become anything through tactical exposure to new perspectives. Individuals are the sum of environments and ideas they have been exposed to, thus adding or subtracting experiences from that human equation alters the result.
Tome baden.
Unfortunately, there are times when the only solution is to erase every belief a person holds dear and start over from nothing. But that's just a part of the job description. We wouldn't be offering such competitive salaries if designing boutique psychological profiles were easy.
Before you can ask the interviewer what the hell he means, another sound reaches your ears. It's not a person's scream this time, but neither is it a vinyl's tune or a machine's hum. Rather, it resembles a dull, wet, rhythmic thud. Once, twice, thrice, you hear it, a little louder every time. Your eyes dart about the room, looking for the noise's source. You find it staring back at you from across the two-way mirror. You see the handprint of a blood-stained palm, slapping against the looking glass, begging to be let out. Your mouth goes dry as it hangs open. Your finger shakes as you start to point. All that remains is silence. Or then, without a warning, the thudding suddenly stops. All that remains is silence, and the message written in scarlet smears, a cry for help no one can answer. Abuya looks over his shoulder, seeing the red stain. You wait for him to react, to gasp, or even scream. All he does is harumph at it, annoyed.
Onekaye.
I really need to put more pressure on that janitor. The soundproofing in here has always been unacceptable as of late.
With more grouchy grumbling, he tweaks a couple of his device's knobs as if nothing happened. Then noticing your aghast expression, he furrows his brows, not with concern, but with confusion.
Kudomijaji.
Is something the matter?
What is going on? What kind of evaluation is this? Your voice cracks as you shout, but Abuya appears unperturbed, bored even. Most of all, he appears irritated by your refusal to sit still and listen. Reluctant or perhaps defeated, the man provides a brief, albeit unpleasant explanation.
Samogeto.
As stated previously, contractual obligations prevent me from revealing classified company details. However, I can assure you this is all standard Smeirna Corp procedure. Now please control yourself until said procedure is complete, or I'll have to contain your outbursts by any means I deem necessary.
I don't really like the sound of that. I should fawn until I'm safe. Terrified of ending up like that person, across the glass, you scrunch your lips shut and tightly pray this meeting will end with your life intact. The tweed behemoth applauds your wisdom with an ever-widening smile.
Tome baden.
Wonderful. I'm thrilled you're willing to be so cooperative despite these distractions. Now regarding the conclusion of our conjectural conundrum,
Notice amini.
let's say, and I cannot stress this enough, that our aforementioned staffers hypothetically assigned to contain a major data breach, one with consequences that could spell disaster for their company and co-workers alike. The sensitive nature of these tasks requires them to exterminate or indefinitely debilitate any individuals who have witnessed this leak information, so that they become incapable of further dissemination. In this case, the information has been accessed by two people, the employee's spouse and their prepubescent offspring.
Ajobonica.
Needless to say, our employee is reluctant to perform their duty and exterminate these individuals. However, if either family member remains alive, the company stands to lose everything. Furthermore, should they refuse to tie up these proverbial loose ends, you will be required to do so in their place, as outlined in your Smeirna Corp contract. In short, how do you ensure these targets perish as intended, and that this data breach remains contained, regardless of this problematic employee's hesitation?
No one should kill their family to bury company secrets. Bitch. As you stammer your undignified answer, Mr. Burgard's expression goes from jolly to deadpan faster than you can blink. He fiddles with his instruments settings with a disappointed frown, indifferent to your pleading.
Mauhone.
Normally, I'd applaud any employee willing to consider better ways of doing things around here. But I sense you're less interested in optimizing your duties and more concerned with avoiding them. Frankly, if this is how you react to a hypothetical version of this scenario, I loathe to imagine your reaction when actually confronting this situation in the workplace. You'll need to learn to perform under pressure around here, and fast.
You're gonna make me kill people? Please. I don't want to do that for your company secrets. Drumming up a few more buttons and eliciting a few more beeping noises, your manager's expression shifts somewhat as his strange machine's monitor displays your evaluation's final score.
Well, this is genuinely impressive. I had high hopes for you, but this exceeds even those anticipations by considerable leaps and bounds. Most of our employees need months, if not years, training to properly optimize our procedures while foregoing all ethical concerns. For you to demonstrate such dedication to efficiency without need for orienteering, that tells me you're destined to accomplish great, terrible things at this company. Why, I barely had to make adjustments to your doppelganger engineering suggestions.
Doppelganger? Unfazed by your panic or bafflement, Mr. Burgard reaches for a nearby candlestick phone. The mouthpiece, unrealistically macabre roosting bat design, makes it seem like he's clutching a live pipistrelle and shoving it against the cavern that is his giant mouth.
Ajobonica.
We're done here. You can show them now.
On the other end of the line, a reply is chirped. Obuya hands you the phone and motions you to listen in. His pure white smile looks wide enough to tear his cheeks at the seams. We have no choice. Let's accept the phone. You gingerly seize the occult antique. It takes you a few tries to grasp how the winged mammal is meant to be held, and even longer to hold the earpiece to your head. By the time you figured it out, you wished you hadn't. The two-way glass at the back suddenly turns transparent, revealing yet another room filled with aesthetic contradictions and logical anomalies. Your first urge is to scream, but your voice makes no sound. Perhaps your cries are deafened by whatever the fuck is going on. You stand there before what seems to be a hospital operating room. Its walls are adorned with a mix of dark wood panels and mounted stag heads, bathed in the sterile glow of circular fluorescent lamps. At the far back, you see the silhouettes of two surgeons toiling away behind a curtain, carving apart the skulls of their fully conscious, unsedated patients. You want to look away, but you can't even blink. There's just too much to take in. There's the patients themselves. They almost look like twins. Both have been tied down with belts to their respective surgical tables. Both are men with tan skin, furrowed brows, and bloodshot stares. Both have the tops of their head partially concealed by curtains, where the surgeons' silhouettes prod their scalps with forceps. Only one of them is screaming, as though death would be a mercy. The surgeons' tools, blood-stained aprons hanging from wooden coat racks, while stainless steel surgical trays contain an assortment of gruesome devices. Bone saws, hand-cranked drills, and strangely hairy, bone-white bowls glistening with dark red. Your stomach gurgles upon realizing that they are the sliced-off tops of human skulls. There's the televisions hanging from the ceiling. Boxy Technicolor units have been suspended above each patient's head. Their crackling screens blast them with an unrelenting montage of childhood videotape footage, warbled ECG readouts, brain scans, and other news network broadcasts. Each man's eyelids are held open by metallic speculums, denying them the privilege of looking away. And there's the woman taking notes. She stands with her back to you, jotting down observations on a clipboard as she studies each victim's distinct reactions. Though her shoulders are shaking, she writes with a steady hand. The muffled sounds of saws slicing through bone to make you throw up. What? The muffled sounds of saws slicing through bone threaten to make you throw up, but instead you feel your heart sink deep into that pit of nausea and realize something truly chilling. You recognize two of the people in that room. Look at the screaming patient. I know who that is. It's the man. Though his face is warped by fear and pain, there's no mistaking Emiliano Aguilar, the problem employee you were sent to replace. From across the two-way mirror, he recognizes you as well. His shrieks turn to sob-choked pleas, his voice a feral shadow of the corpse drawl it once was.
Bone, mateku.
You, please, tell them I'll change. Tell them I'll do better. Just don't let them replace me. Melusine, I'm begging you, you can't do this to me. I have a fan.
His words are cut off by gurgling spasms, his eyes rolling back into their sockets as the surgeon's silhouette behind him cuts something inside his head. Blood and brain matter splatters the curtain, hiding the worst of the scene. But the sound of squelching meat and bone still carry over the receiver. Yet, it's the other, calmer patient's voice that truly makes you nauseous. He doesn't just look like Emiliano. He sounds like him. Exactly like him.
Kimaleto ba.
You, please, tell them I'll change. Tell them I'll do better. Just don't let them replace me.
The lookalike's face remains impassive, even as his exposed brain is prodded at with the hand-cranked drill. Yet the imitation of his neighbor's blood-curdling cries is perfect. Every nuance, every pause for breath reenacted down to the finest detail. Better than any audio recording you could ever imagine. More immaculate a simulacra than any man or machine could ever be capable of. It's so perfect, in fact, that you're no longer certain which is the real Emiliano.
Ametemoku.
Hey, Melusine, how was that? Am I laying it on? Am I laying the accent on too thick?
Anapaoki.
See, seems fine to me. I'd recommend letting your voice crack once in a while. It's been known to happen when Mr. Aguilar is heavily inebriated, and considering his drinking disposition, that particular nuance will come up quite frequently.
Zuten foi.
Gotcha. I'll give it another go. Hey pal, can you give me some fresh material to rehearse?
Ame temoku.
You're a bunch of psychos, motherfucking heartless psychos!
Emiliano sobs and howls himself raw, retching as the surgeon, hacking his cerebellum, induces full-body spasms. The other Emiliano merely clears his throat before howling much the same.
Bate bamo.
You're all a bunch of psychos, motherfucking heartless psychos.
Himaleto ba.
How about that? Bit better?
Paso kami.
Considerably. I'll notify the post-op technicians to implant a few more speech impediment-inducing memories that apply brain damage relative to Mr. Aguilar's alcoholism. That should iron out the last neurophysical kinks. The other Emiliano gives a firm thumbs up, leaning back to enjoy his lobotomy with the lackadaisy indulgence of an expert barber's scalp massage. Melusine turns to face the glass, her wide smile pulled painfully taut. She looks at you with tears and mascara streaking down her face, her grin seeming to cause more pain than either patient's cerebral surgery.
Isa mo siya.
Was there anything else you needed to see, Mr. Burgard?
Notice amini.
No, thank you, dear. That'll be all. Just wanted our new hire to get a better idea of the daily grind. Oh, but do let me know if we need to make any adjustments to mediatic nutrition, will you? I'll be on standby.
With a curt nod, the receptionist turns her back. You hear a click, then a dial tone, and the phone's ceaseless screaming abruptly cuts off. Across the glass, Emiliano thrashes with all his might, the sound of his screeching muted once again.
Gawona kimo.
So, what do you think?
Pretend to be calm and curious. You've studied childhood trauma long enough to know explosive reactions incite abusers to commit further violence. Even though it almost kills you, you keep your voice as steady as possible, expressing mild surprise and even milder confusion about the absolute nightmare unfurling before you. Mr. Burgard looks pleased as punch by your polite interest. A seismic laughter creeps up his cavernous throat as he gestures to the two Emilianos.
Oh me baden.
I'm glad you're coming to this with an open mind. Most recruits get surprisingly antsy at this stage of our proceedings. What you see here is the most common and most heavily patented human resource service that Smeirna Corp provides. We replace troublesome members of society with specially trained, lab-raised actors that will live more efficient lives in our target's place.
Gawona kimo.
And what's more, we've performed today's processes all according to your specifications. Ugh. Yikes. Your specifications?
You had nothing to do with this. Unperturbed by your protest, Burgard motions to the silhouetted surgeons currently picking at both Emiliano's wet and naked craniums.
Gawona kimo.
First, as standard procedure, we have our doppelgangers undergo extensive surgeries. This ensures their size and appearance matches their target. However, we also perform highly precise neural excisions and hormonal dosing sessions to ensure both replacement and replacee have identical synaptic pathways. This means they'll share the same tastes, reflexes, and handicaps whenever applicable.
Kudo mijaji.
In this case, we've altered portions of the cortex related to all those troublesome self-regulation behaviors Aguilar once used to cope with his childhood trauma. It was a wise suggestion of yours to address such foundational behavior-based shortcomings directly at their source. Oh!
Oops. After completing his bleak announcement with the showman's tone, the giant points to the device on his desk, its myriad cables running along the floor, and worm their way through slits in the two-way glass. connecting to the flashing televisions hanging above the patients'
Notice
faces.
amini.
Next, we bombard our subjects with doctored historical information that falsify childhood memory footage to rewrite their lived experience. This will erase problematic attitudes and induce more desirable proclivities.
Kudo mijaji.
This also extends to teaching of new morals or religious beliefs, which you suggested would be done to treat extreme social cases. And while Mr. Aguilar held some rather distasteful political views at the core of his character, rest assured, we've replaced them with better values which align nicely with company interests.
With an emphatic flourish, Abuya tweaks another one of his machine's many knobs. The television screen flickers, replacing its gruesome slideshow of warfare footage with pictures of a pastoral farm. The louder Emiliano squirms and screeches. Finally, the tweed behemoth nods to Melusine, whose eyes glance between both her patients, taking notes whenever one of them imitates the other. The two are becoming increasingly impossible to tell apart.
Tome baden.
Last but not least, Miss Sansons arguably has the most important task of all, quality assurance. You see, our procedure is human, not mechanical. Instinct trumps algorithm when it comes to understanding people, thus it is imperative for staffers with an eye of social cues to study the effect of non-sedated lobotomies, particularly during back-and-forth exchanges between target and replacement. This allows us to adjust mediatic nutrition quickly, and to identify overlooked flaws in body language, voice modulation, or personality. All this ensures our doppelgangers perform their jobs correctly.
Notice amini.
In other words, she will be ensuring that at least one of these Aguilars exterminates their family members correctly. Miss Sansaz is a woman who comes up with solutions, you see, not excuses.
Holy shit, he wasn't lying. You may not have pulled the trigger, but you did help him load the gun. As you reel from the weight of revelation, Babuya holds up 3 fingers. One by one, he curls them
Kudo
down.
mijaji.
Physical rewiring, psychological reconditioning, social integration, these are the pillars upon which Smeirna Corp. Why did I forget how to say Smeirna Corp? I've said it thousands of times. These are the pillars upon which Smeirna Corp's substitution services are built. This is how we guarantee that the tens of thousands of doppelgangers currently deployed in the public perform exactly as they must. That is how our company has controlled the course of human civilization for years upon years, steering it into whatever direction our executives deem right. That is how and the right people have shown up at the right times and the right places, how the wrong items or ideas have never appeared at inopportune occasions, and it's how you will help us do our job regardless of which department you are ultimately assigned to.
Gawo nakimo.
So, are there any further questions about your new job's responsibilities?
Why didn't my auntie tell me about this? Hold on. The only logical explanation is that she didn't know this kind of insanity was occurring at her workplace. After all, the woman can definitely be a little heartless, but she wouldn't stoop to getting you a job torturing people just to get her rent money, would she?
Gawo nakimo.
Oh, I'm afraid your aunt was very aware of the procedures that we conduct here. She's undergone one herself, after all. It's all part of what makes her such an exceptional recruiter. But please, don't resent her for keeping so much sensitive information confidential. To borrow an expression, we have many fingers shoved quite deep into a surprising amount of pies.
The tweed behemoth spreads his arms, taking up a dramatic stance. He's T-posing! He's T-posing! His muscular limbs cast a vast, all-consuming shadow, much like the one his company must cast over the world.
Notice amini.
Societies, you see, are merely a set of rules meant to control select populaces enforced by means of moral codes and legislative threats. Histories are not but narratives parading as objective fact, deterministically controlling the future by redefining the past. Economies are broad equations engineered to establish hierarchies and restrict freedoms indirectly. Our missive is to alter the evolution of all these entities everywhere in the world for the benefit of our species. This can mean overturning governments with silent revolutions, establishing or destroying businesses to reroute the flow of wealth, even altering the history in ways that force us to reinterpret the present.
Notice how many.
All the world's a stage. Men and women are merely players, but Smeirna Corp is the playwright casting every actor's role. Today, your role has been decided too, and if you care to keep a roof over your head, you should refrain from delivering a disappointing performance.
The giant's index finger prods your chest as he speaks. Each tap is like a bullet thudding against a Kevlar vest. Across the mirror, Emiliano screams as though he felt those gunshots too. He cries an ode to the dark future which awaits you. A future of perpetual, inescapable servitude. Abuya's right.
You need money. Agree to work here until you've saved enough to quit.
I'm staying! The thought of helping these monsters makes you sick. But turning down the offer means you'll end up on the street. Thus, you promise Burgard to work hard and do better than Emiliano. For now.
Gawona Kimo.
Wonderful! But be advised, you'll need to perform very well for a very long time if you intend your time with us to be temporary. After all, we've already signed our first contract, and its strictest clauses do not expire anytime soon.
The man's pale eyes drift towards your hand. The one he shook that you thought was bleeding. Looking into your palm, you realize your hunch was fully justified, because something did pierce it. There's a lump beneath the skin. A small, subtle, rectangular protrusion you hadn't noticed until now. Probably because it wasn't flashing, let alone making such an obnoxious sound.
Tome Baden.
This, my friend, is what we refer to as a non-disclosure microchip, a brand new addition to our confidentiality policy, specially designed by our future partners at Radium Inc. It serves as an ID to access our offices, but also as an employee loyalty failsafe. Should you ever emit brain activity associated with treason, unauthorized divulgation of confidential data, or any such nasty business, the chip will emit a warning signal. Should this warning go unheeded, a lethal dose of Boridinium-210 will be discharged on a nigh untraceable radiotoxic isotope capable of inducing total organ shutdown within seconds.
Kudo Mijaji.
In other words, lest you care to experience a particularly messy demise, I suggest you remain on your best behavior until you die of natural causes.
Yay! The microchip starts beeping faster, till it matches the demented tempo of your beating heart. No telling which of the two is about to explode first. The signal is interrupted by Mr. Burgard's tisk-tisking as he checks his belt-sized watch.
Gawona Kimo.
Dearie me, seems I lost track of time. Other appointments beckon. I'm afraid our meeting is at an end. You best return home and get plenty of rest. You'll need it for your onboarding.
Notice how many.
Oh, and please don't consider suicide as a solution to prematurely terminate your employment. I'm well aware of your unfortunate mental health diagnosis, but, I'd be ever so happy to see such a predictable scenario. I'd be ever so unhappy to see such a predictable scenario come to pass, especially since we'd just be wasting time replacing you with a doppelganger or otherwise. I recommend you try enjoying this, if you can. Your moral crisis and panic attacks should be like water running off a proverbial duck's back.
As Abuya chuckles, an elevator door screeches open behind you. The open shaft greets you like the gaping maw of a deep-sea fish. You glance between the open door and your manager, wondering if it's really safe to leave. But by the time the behemoth gives you a cheeky wink, you're already making for a run for it. Your fingers mash every single button on the keypad's confusing display, hoping some combination of keys will get you as far as possible. Eventually, the grillage gate slams shut. The floor lurches upward, and Mr. Burgard waves goodbye, speaking the most chilling words you've heard all day.
Obijaji.
See you tomorrow.
Your microchip's alarm slow to a crawl as your hopes and dreams die a slow, whimpering death. Congratulations, you're hired. Chapter complete. Yay! That was crazy. I think we're gonna cut it there for the day. I think we have to. Too much voice is a bad thing, you know. But wow, what do you guys think so far? I think they have really good dental. I think the benefits are gonna be so sick. I'll never have a cavity again, and if I do, I'm just gonna fill it with my awesome dental. What did you think? What did you think? I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying this. Seems like a solid employer. Looks like you're set for life. That's right. If they've got good dental, then all the weird stuff is forgivable. Yeah, exactly. I've done more for no dental, you know? You're telling me all I gotta do is lobotomize people? I'm hired. Count me in. I'm really liking this so far. I can't wait to see where it goes. They really are inhuman, I suppose. But I wonder what the executives are like. You know? Can I be your first client? Yeah. I've got a knitting needle and a dream. Come get your lobotomy. Courtesy of Lilith. But I'm not washing my hands. You're just gonna have to deal with it. My frontal lobe has caused me nothing but anxiety and misery. Have you tried?
Have you tried just feeling better? Have you tried that?
Lithobotomy, yeah. Frontal lobes are so overrated. I have tried, it just wasn't my vibe. Okay, heard. Man, that was good. We'll have to ration that one out pretty slowly, I think. But now that Fish is out of his cone, I think things are gonna calm down. I think my voice is gonna be getting better. I've been stretching like 4 times a day, man. I wake up and I stretch. Then I eat lunch and I stretch. And I get on stream and I stretch. And I go to sleep and I stretch. Like, it's crazy. But, you know, I feel like there are good weeks and there are bad weeks. And this is just this has been a bad 2 weeks so far. Which kind of sucks, but I don't know why I'm talking about all this. Shut up. Just shut up. I like canes. I like chicken strips. I like chicken strips a lot. Oh, thanks for the love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm gonna be doing lobotomies so that I can, like, pay for a new throat. Thank you so much. Sleep stretching, a common practice. Of course. I go to bed with my neck just completely contorted. Why are the chickens stripping? Because that's what I paid for.
That's what I paid for, baby.
They're doing what I paid them money to do. I will lobotomize for chicken strips, but I'm still not washing my hands, and I will eat the chicken strips while during the procedure. You have to bring them with you. You can't pay them for me afterwards. You're telling me a chicken stripped this? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. You will lobotomize the chicken before eating its strips, right? Nah. That chicken needs to be intact. No crumbs on my brain.
Then I guess you better get a lobotomy from someone else.
I'll have like my little lobotomy stand in the alley, and I'm wearing like rubber gloves that are absolutely too big for me. And I've got like the doctor headband on, the one with like the little reflective circle on the forehead. And then there will be a sign hanging behind me. One that says chicken strips and the other one that says no requests. So like, no crumbs on my brain. That counts as a request. And then I'll just point to the sign. I'll bring my hand up to the sign with so much speed and force that the like loose bits of the rubber gloves that are far too big for me will like smack the sign. Can you see it? Can you see it? Am I painting a picture for you?
Can I have my brain deep fried and pickled while all the skulls already open?
That's gonna be extra. That's gonna be extra. And it depends. Are you bringing your own brine? Because don't make me tap the sign. Lobotomy is called that because it makes you passive and docile. It makes you a bottom. Yeah. Can't spell lobotomy without bottom. Can I request chicken crumbs on my brain? No! No requests! Taps the sign. Smacks the sign with rubber glove. BYOB, bring your own brine. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yummy, yummy. Yummy.
I always thought the brains were like very squishy and watery, but like when they're brined, they look so solid, you know? But I thought your brain was like mostly made of just like salty water. Interesting. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. This is your brain on brine. This is your brain. And this is your brain on brine. Brains are fatty tissue, water, and neurons. So salty water. Soup. Does it qualify as a soup? Or would it be more like a pudding? Or maybe a panna cotta? Or maybe like a nice creme brulee. A pate. Oh, okay. Pate. Like a tartare. Pate with gravy. Ugh. And it would be the most bland gravy ever. Like little lady's wet food. Oh my god. You're so correct. That'd be so bland. Jellied veal. Could be. I've never had veal and I've never had jellied veal. But yeah, that's kind of what I always thought. Like, you know how, you know, like when you're making broth. Okay, not everybody makes broth, but you know, for my broth makers, you know when you're making broth, and there's this thing that happens when you start boiling it down a whole lot, especially if there was a lot of like bones in the broth. You can make like a jelly, because there's gelatin in the bones, right? So you boil it down, and then once it like cools, it becomes like a meat jelly. That's kind of what I thought a brain. That's the consistency of brain. It's not like Jello in a way that like it's like softer than Jello, but it's like not solid, you know? That's the good stuff. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I fucking love making broth jelly. Chicken jelly. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Brain aspic. Ugh. Brain spam. Shove it in a little square can. And then all the people who are like, we could give the square brains to like Lego characters or something. I don't know. They'd fit right in there. Smart brains absorb the most flavor. Dumb brains are just too dense. Ha! Got him! Nice one! Good job. So we're playing Persona 5 tomorrow. I'm very excited to keep going. I don't even remember what we were doing. But I'm sure I'll figure it out. We rode the train and it was successful. We rode the train. And we did a fine job. And then after that, Friday, we're playing Plague Tale, which I think we'll be finishing it, actually. We're gonna be finishing Plague Tale. And then Saturday, we're going to be continuing our delve into, what were we playing? Why do I always forget Saturday? Hold on one second. Ender Lilies! We're playing Ender Lilies. So that'll be a lot of fun. I've seen jello molds of brains, can't really comprehend what they'd be like. I know some animal brains get eaten. Yeah, I've seen those too. I really want one. What about the wrinkles? They can't iron out the wrinkles. That's true, but no one loves a big wrinkly brain like I do. Holds more sauce. Holds more sauce than smooth brain. Smooth brain is what? Just like a fucking chicken cutlet. You dip that in sauce and it's all just gonna slide right off. You need a big wrinkly brain with all those grooves and valleys to hold the sauce. Professional streamer, Lilith O'Leary. I love how you switched to the schedule screen to check it. That's because I'm a professional. That's how I do it. Professional. I should honestly like have it open somewhere or something, but I keep believing in myself a little too hard, thinking that I'll remember it this time. Like I'm like, this week's gonna be different. I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remember what I'm playing. I never do. It happens every week. But I never stop believing in myself. So there. Well, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Before my voice starts to hurt super bad. But thank you all so very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for talking about brains with me and like not being weirded out by that. I do appreciate that very much. It's how I know that you're my people. I hope I get to see you tomorrow for more Persona 5 Royal. Persona 5 Royale! It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying the soundtrack for it as well. Oh my god, it's so good. Alright, make sure, well, let's put a pin in this and we'll circle back next fiscal week. Until then, make sure that you, you promote SINergy and find a way to, proactively, and intermediately, get fucked. Bye. I am calm and collected. And I sneak up undetected. Something you never expected. Is the knife that I presented? This doesn't line up like that. I wish I could do that. I wonder if I can. There's a slash of film, then a clip in the script. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I got your ass. I got you. Thank you very much for staying so long in the video. If you stay, that means you're one of the strong, one of the sweet, and one of my favorites. And I want to know, like, what you're, like, what is it? Just share with me, like, one of the worst jobs you've ever had. And, like, now looking back on it, you're like, wow, I really did that because I needed the money. Like, I put myself through that because I needed money. Oh my god, never